event technology expert and host, Joe Martin.
All right, first episode with Jeff Krynick. It's Joel Martin with ILoveEventTech, and I think I just messed up the intro, but that's okay. How you doing, buddy? How's Austin?
Austin's great. Still a little steamy, but hopefully we'll cool down soon.
Well, cheers. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah, I think I'll always love to start where I last saw somebody or where we met. And I think I was at Brightbox, the experiential New York company that I used to work for. And I think it was Vegas. Was it Vegas or Chicago? It was Vegas.
I think it was San Francisco.
San Francisco. Geez, man. They're all a blur.
I know.
Back in the real world. Yes. So San Francisco, Experiential Marketing Summit. And you were at Connect and Go, right?
I was.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us today on ILoveEventTech. And we want to talk a little bit about your story, your background, and how you became a leader in the experiential technology field. I'm seeing some records behind you there.
Yep.
We both got our start in the music industry. I know you worked at some labels, like serious jobs. I was a college, true story, one of my first jobs, college music rep for Sony Music. And I used to visit we still had real radio stations.
Yeah.
We actually had local DJs. It wasn't all from the internet. In Gainesville, Florida. And my job was to bribe leave CDs and take people out to lunch so they would write reviews on our artists like Korn. And, I had Epic Records and Sony Classic. And I cut my teeth promoting, upcoming records and CDs and music and release parties. We'd have listening parties at bars. It was back in the heyday when specs and record stores were still very important. But I know you were at Island Records, man. You were at a couple of different.
I was. Yeah, it's funny. So I was very fortunate enough to work at Mercury and Sony and Island. I won't say the decade, but when there were still, I guess if you can see them, CDs.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I've got quite a few of them, and my son, who's 13, looks at these from time to time, and he just says, "Dad, who the hell is John Mellencamp? And what in the world are you doing with that guy on your wall?" So anyway, I have a 13-year-old that has no idea about what we may now call classic rock music.
Wow. So that, I guess, and you were at New West Records, and you got into ticketing too. I mean, I actually visited the front gate offices in Austin.
Oh, yeah?
So I was there for a meeting. We were talking about RFID with their ticketing. I mean, we've had some very similar paths in life. This is amazing.
Yeah, when I moved to Austin in 2002 to work for New West Records. In part, my wife was born and raised in Austin. We met in New York.
Beautiful city.
So when we moved here and New West then relocated to Los Angeles, I elected not to move and stay here. And I heard about this little startup called Front Gate Tickets. So I called Charles Attal, who I just met through some friends. Didn't really know him, but said, hey, I hear you've got this little ticketing company. Can you introduce me to someone? And thanks to him and a few other things, I started there and spent 8 years in ticketing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just went through Ticketfly, Verve. You've been through the whole technology field for ticketing, and then you ended up at the new type of tickets, right? Technology, RFID, and it's mobile. I mean, and that's where we met, right? Connect and Go.
That's right. Yeah, I fell in love. I've been in the experiential side of technology for the past 3 years, which I really like a lot. The experiences, the fan engagement. So the first 10 or so years in ticketing and marketing technology, but then experiential tech just lit me up, and mobile and RFID and how to engage fans on site at events really was something that I knew I had to stay in.
Wow. Yeah. So I guess that's where we're at. The show's about event technology, and you've been at some cutting edge companies, which again, I see. I'm just going over the story for our listeners, for our viewers, because these are some of the coolest companies out there. I mean, Connect and Go is in theme parks. They've done some amazing things. And I think when you joined Patron, they were just merging Doozy and Fish.
That's right.
The two big players in that space. They would always be exhibiting. next to each other. And I can remember 2014, 2015, 2016, they always had the booth. Who had the bigger booth? Who had the cooler experience? Oh, we did the NFL. And what did you guys do? Oh, we did Major League Baseball, right? And we did this thing with social media and hashtags. And, you could tweet and, the kiosk would give you a prize. And so they were always trying to one-up each other in that experiential field. I thought that was really cool. And you joined when these guys were coming together, becoming a powerhouse. What was that like?
It was really exciting. I spent a year and a half at Connect and Go. Anthony still is a good friend of mine. And when Patron acquired both Thuzy and Fish, it made sense for me to come in and run the sales team and build a sales team and kind of make sense with what the two companies had been doing. And I'd been competing against them while at Connect and Go. So to be on the other side, where there was also some great clients, like you mentioned, NFL, Major League Baseball, and lots of others. So it was fun taking two companies with great rosters and people and mash them together. And as a group at Patron, we continue down that path and lots of exciting stuff.
And I love how sports and sporting events have really embraced technology. So, and not now, but back in the real world before COVID, I used to go to stadiums and arenas, and I would always note which arena, which stadium was embracing mobile or the ability to order food and pick it up, like order from your seat and have it delivered to your seat, or pick it up at the register. Which locations had charging stations, which ones had not updated their seating in 20 years, right? So I've always been at the customer experience from the moment you walk in. And did they have a hand sanitation station? Did they have clean restrooms? Were the doors automatic, contactless? There was just so many things that I would take note of. Like, oh, I love the Miami Arena because they're always embracing tech and adding things. Well, this arena, I'm not going to say any names. When I go down there, geez, it's just the same thing I experienced 10 years ago when I was in New York, right? Like, so you take mental notes of who's cutting edge and who's not.
It's a philosophy, right? Either you believe that it's today, you believe that you're 4 years behind, or you know that it'll be there when you're ready. So operations has to match with the marketing team and the rest of the folks there to deliver. And if you're not ready for it, you're going to make mistakes, and nobody likes to make mistakes, especially when you're a professional sports team. That'd be the worst thing they could do.
Yeah, I think that's the thing now, to bring back sports, to bring back events. It's going to be about those experiences. And I understand you're now doing some consulting. Do you mind if I put that banner up? We talked about it.
Go for it. Sure.
Okay. I just want to bring this up because I want to make sure I give my guests their due. This is his website. Make sure you visit it. Shoot him if you have any questions after the podcast. Make sure you ask him a straight question. You have an expert. Jeff is the guy to talk to. So I guess we should get to the meat of it. It's event tech. There's a lot of things happening. You're an industry expert. Maybe you can talk about some trends of what you see happening and where you see the industry going. I have my opinions, but I want to hear from somebody in the know.
Sure. Well, I'm not going to talk much about live streaming and the virtual event thing because it's evolving, right? And it's fun, it's exciting to be a part of it on all sides of it. But there are a lot of great companies doing it. What I've been hearing a lot of and talking to a lot of brands and agencies and sports teams as well is there are about four things that seem to come up more often than not. The first is timed entry. Not everyone knows timed entry as timed entry. They just know I've got to throttle people through in an organized way so that we don't have lines and we can socially distance. So the ability for fans to reserve a time slot for a pop-up experience or some type of brand activation or a drive-through, that's something that more and more folks are realizing that it's a non-starter to put on an event without timed entry. Mm-hmm. So that's really the first thing. And whether it's free or paid, same logic, right? Book your time, have a great experience, stay away from people.
Disney, you gotta have your fast pass.
Exactly.
Make an appointment.
That's right. Exactly. A lot, and I'm excited about what I hear a lot of, which is, the question, what's cool? What else is out there that you can help us with or that you're seeing? And I feel like the growth of AR and VR, largely AR because it's easy, it's mobile based largely. But the growth of AR and web AR, there's something like 1 billion web AR enabled phones out there. So it makes it really easy to scan a QR code and activate content. So lots of brands are starting to move in that direction. And it's fairly affordable. easy to develop and deploy. The benefit, of course, is there is no app, so you save costs. And then the native app AR is also cool, and that's the 3D recognition of an image where content is inactivated. So that's a lot of what I'm hearing too. And once you start getting into it with them, I actually had a conversation with an agency recently, and I asked, how do you identify a good AR VR vendor, and their response was Google. And so what that tells me is either AR VR shops are not doing a great job of marketing themselves. They're so busy right now that they don't have time to market, and maybe their marketers are now, and salespeople are marketers and doing operations internally. But I think that's a really good opportunity in the space as well.
Well, I worked with several of them, and one of them with CodeFirm with 302 Interactive, and before COVID, they were so busy with one or two clients in a certain vertical that they didn't have time. They just were so busy now that this has happened and the industry, the tourist locations that were major clients have changed. Now they're doing a lot of CPG brands. They're doing a lot of, stay-at-home adventures and meeting applications for, getting their employees to do something at home with AR. But I see a lot of that in the VR meeting space, the AR meeting space. It's evolving. It's changing. I mean, people are trying to have VR meetings. They're not there yet, but they're getting there. The equipment seems to be a big something that's holding it back. But yeah, AR seems to be where there's a lot of growth right now.
Yeah, and VR, what I'm seeing a lot of, and I think all of us who attend virtual conferences, virtual trade show booths, and that's not only a reality, but I think that's just the next progression in sharing what you are and who you are as a company, and so virtually navigating through that virtual trade show booth, so you can either have a very one-dimensional experience, which can serve a lot of folks' purposes, which is I click in that virtual meeting or virtual conference, the brand or the exhibitor, and I can download a couple of PDFs, I can watch a video, and that's it, and that's fine for some, but others who have budgets and really want to bring in a great experience and engage folks are going to virtual trade show booths.
Awesome. So what is I think you said there was a couple. What's the next one? What's the next big trend?
I think, as we talked about earlier, wearables for sure. And there's the one segment which you said you're really seeing a lot of or thinking a lot about, which is how do you socially distance with a wearable that buzzes and lights up? And actually, Anthony from Connect and Go recently launched a company. I forget the name.
I knew he had something. I knew he was working on something.
Yeah, he's always working on something.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side, which is just an LED controllable wearable. And I think Duncan from CrowdSync is going to be on the show in the future.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're doing really cool things, and I'm helping those guys out. And so the ability to have everyone in a room, whether it's a 200-person room.
Have you tried Mint hair products yet?
What's that?
Have you tried his hair products yet?
No, he didn't share that.
I'm wearing Mint right now. It's great. I love it.
Really?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to have to.
He's an entrepreneur, man. He's got several companies. I cannot wait to have him on the show. It's going to be great.
Yeah, he's a good dude. But they're doing great things. And when COVID, but prior to COVID, they were in arenas with NBA teams and football stadiums with pro football teams and festivals and tours. So the ability to have that wearable device, right? We're all talking about event tech and how do you immerse people in experience. And what better way to have an LED on your wrist or a lanyard or beach balls if you're at a festival with lights that are synced to the sound, synced to the lighting system. So you truly are part of that experience. So I feel like when we come out of it, and even though there are some shows that are happening now with these, I think when we come out of it, I feel like there's something there.
I agree. That's definitely a great feedback. I think we had a fourth one. Let me, if I'm not correct, in streaming, which you touched on first. It's
virtual meet and greets.
Yes, meet and greets.
So this is interesting because, and this, coming from the record business, we would set up meet and greets all the time. After a show, you invite retail, you invite all the folks down who from the industry standpoint want to meet the artists. Well, now what do? Well, you've got to do something virtually. So Patron, who I also still work with, they've created a virtual meet and greet platform that is entirely brandable, fully brandable, with moderators and they've got some really great clients doing great things. GalaxyCon, WWE, they both have videos on their website showing a bunch of the meet and greets. And I think actually GalaxyCon has the cast of Clerks in November coming in to do a panel session. So I think the meet and greets are the step two. You've got a panel session and then you have the meet and greet. So while Cameo and some other...
There's no Comic Cons anymore. The celebrities need money. There's no Comic Cons anymore.
That's right.
And a lot of these actors that weren't making money from, because streaming doesn't have the returns that regular television has or DVD sales would have. So, they're getting $50, $70 an autograph and picture session and doing these dinner appearances where they have dinner with cool tech company brings 4 or 5 of their favorite sci-fi guys out to dinner for a pizza party, and they're walking away with $2,000-$3,000 in their pocket for going to a pizza party with tech studios. I meant like when it's a cast of an old sci-fi show, right? But yes, more than that if it's like 2 or 3 hours. But and not everybody's Shatner, or rest of soul Stan Lee, which you have a line of people waiting outside the building. But smaller smaller artists that would do regional cons really depended on this revenue because they're flying out there at their own expense to sign autographs. And now the Comic Cons are gone for a whole year. Like all of a sudden they had to pivot and find a resource. And older and even athletic celebrities that just that's what they do. They sign memorabilia and sports cards. And
that's right.
So Cameo has been like a life just like a raft of for these guys. It's amazing what it's done. Those guys were at the right place at the right time. And it's great that they embraced it because I've always seen that European and Asian companies would embrace celebrities in different ways. And I guess Americans, I'm sorry, I'm getting into the celebrity talk here, just taking a new direction. They didn't want to do these things. They didn't want to do like a commercial for bubblegum. It was like, but you'd go to another country, see Brad Pitt doing a commercial for, sneakers. And now it's all over the web. You can call or set up an appointment and have a guy from your favorite 80s TV show leave a voicemail to your friend, That's $500 I ever spent.
Absolutely, and I believe Cameo has been around for several years. So this isn't a let's launch something and capitalize on this opportunity.
It's just really blown up now.
Yeah, and because it's a marketplace, anyone can go on, and there are lots of platforms now with micropayment services that are sort of in and around the same thing. But the ability for anyone who is worth whatever they want to charge for it, put yourself in the marketplace. Promote yourself on your socials, and if it's a meet and greet, if it's a shout out, whatever it is, it's a great platform. It's changing how we think about meeting celebrities, spending our money, and embracing that technology.
So, I guess this is about event tech, and we have a few minutes left. What's next? What is the big one that you think could be a game changer to bring events back?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I think we all are asking ourselves that question. I just saw that there was a country music festival. I think it was in Virginia or Tennessee this weekend. I knew some friends who are working there. I haven't talked to them yet, but there are folks that are trying, and I feel like, and sad to say, until we have some type of vaccine, it's going to be hard to get momentum. But I am
cashless payments, right? No cash.
Right. So it's a lot of mobile payment providers. Some mobile app developers have moved into mobile payments exclusively. Yeah. So there's a shifting towards mobile payments. There's a shifting towards touchless, everything touchless. So when you start thinking about events, we're going to have to launch with as much in the way of touchless. But then as a society, I feel like we're going to continue that path and become more efficient. And right now, there's a great time for innovation. There's a lot of innovating going on. And a lot of companies.
That's more outdoor events, more micro mobility. You don't want to be in an Uber or a bus. You might want to be everybody. Let's take bicycles outside. Let's take e-scooters, right? Mopeds. You guys have Austin has shareable mopeds now. Let's walk to the event now. Of course, weather permitting, because the weather sometimes you can't control that, but outdoor festivals seems like it would be the first thing that would come back. You want to be outside in the sun. And then I keep thinking that we might end up being more like, what Asia has done in the past, where people are wearing more latex gloves, require masks. I've seen some really cool masks with LED lights. I've seen masks that have like all sorts of glitter and jewels. And I think we're building a new culture in the event space, especially for younger people that are willing to put on a latex glove, willing to wear the mask, willing to embrace the touchless payment. They're going to be the first. They're less risk averse. So I can see them going out there and living up to the new standards of, sanitization and social distancing and wearing the little LED buzzer if they get too close. So I'm not scared. I think it's just embracing that technology. Maybe I'm a little bit too hopeful, right? I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I'm most excited about what we're going to see on the other side in terms of the technology, because I only think like I think, you only think like you think, but there's a lot of folks that have way deeper thoughts in terms of how to enhance the fan experience, how to change the dynamic at events. So, pop-ups right now are happening. So
that's great. We guys keep talking about. I like that.
Pop-up experiences. Yeah. Sorry, I just to sort of finish the thought. When you talk about what's on the other side, pop-up experiences are already starting to train people into what is safe. And I feel like at some point, what is safe during COVID is going to be the norm post-COVID. It's just, that's what an event is to us.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, from conferences to conventions to trade shows to sporting events, I want to thank you because we had a true pioneer and industry expert coming on the show for our very first episode. So thank you so much for your time. And again, leave up your website there if anybody wants to contact you. And man, big fan of your work and love what Go's still doing and what Patron is doing. And both a fan and happy to be a colleague in the industry. Thank you so much, man.
Awesome. Likewise. You have a great day.
You too.
I see you guys. Bye.